Hello everybody, welcome back to the Guy Reviews channel. Today I'm going to be taking a look at 5 reasons why you should not buy a Ford Expedition. Now, I've had my brand new Ford Expedition for about 4 months now. It's not the 2021 version. I know those have been just announced, but this is the current model at the time I purchased it that was available. Now, I've owned many different cars. I travel so much. I'm like top tier on many car rental places. So I've driven a lot of vehicles of many different brands, makes, and models. And I wanted to give you 5 reasons I wouldn't buy this that I think are important for people to know to decide if this is the right vehicle for you. I am also going to do a video like this that is 5 reasons why you should buy a Ford Expedition. Now, when that video goes live, I'll put a link to that down below in the top comment also, so you can take a look at that. But these are things I would consider important that you would want to know. Though some people may consider them small, unimportant things, other people may consider them an important decision if they're looking at buying a car. So let's dive into it. But first, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. It really does help us because it lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here. And hopefully I can help you, in this case, make a purchasing decision on maybe a new vehicle. All right, number 1 reason why I would be a little cautious about buying a Ford Expedition is the touchscreen is a little glitchy. While it's beautiful, it's big, it takes a long time to load up when you start the car compared to other brands I've taken. And I've been noticing a lot of weird issues. For instance, on my AM and FM presets, it often, for some reason, changes the numbers. Let's say I have AM 1300 saved. One day I open the car and it's AM 1310, for example. Right after I bought it, actually for some reason, it just wiped all of them with an update and I had to resave all my radio stations, even though I had just entered them all. Now, unfortunately, there's, it's not a huge issue. It's annoying. There's not a lot you can do about that. But just notice in general, it's a little weird, a little glitchy, and slightly annoying. But it's very nice, overall big screen. So keep that in mind. But compared to some other ones, I found it's not the best user interface. Now, the responsiveness of it, the large screen of it is very nice, and it's nicer than a lot of the other ones when it comes to, like, I click on a button and something happens, or in some other cars, you're scrolling around, it's very delayed, very laggy. On the Ford, it's very fast. My problem is more about the fact that it seems not quite as up to high standards as some of the others. For example, if you can't have presets that will go like AM, Sirius XM, FM radio all in the same row, where other car brands are now allowing you to do that. So I wish they did that. Also, Ford does not update older cars like some other companies do. Even though my car is fairly new, I'm not getting the most recent version of the Sync that just came out. You needed like the 2021 to get that. Even though the screen and the processor is capable of it, there's videos to sideload it, Ford's not rolling it out to older cars, so keep that in mind. Number 2, I've had a lot of phone issues connecting. Issues where it doesn't seem to want to connect sometimes, dropping connections, not just with my Android phone. I have a Pixel 4 XL, which is the most recent Pixel phone on the line, but with other ones. Now, my Pixel does not do this with any other Bluetooth device, doesn't do it with other vehicles. My wife's GM vehicle does not drop the Pixel like the Ford does. Also, if I'm using Android Auto through the cable, when people call me and I pick up the phone, they can't hear me, I can't hear them. If I call them, it works. That seems to be an issue exclusive to Android Auto. I don't know if it's exclusive to the Pixel, but with Android phones. And there is, if you go online, you'll see people talking about that. So, keep that in mind. Hopefully they fix that. Ford's tech has been responding to people on their support pages, so hopefully they roll out a fix very soon for that. That addresses that issue. But something I would want people to know about. Number 3, some of the automated systems aren't quite as good as other companies. 2 in particular. The lane keeping one, which kind of helps keep you in the lane. It doesn't drive you. I think Ford has another one where it actually keeps you kind of in the lane. This is the one that assists you, kind of lets you know when you're scooting out of the lane and kind of guides you back in slightly. If it does it too much, it kind of gives you that coffee cup saying, hey, wake up. You're drifting out of your lane a lot. Stop looking at your phone or whatever you may be doing. Also, the automated windshield wipers that when it detects rains go on and off don't seem to be quite up to the quality of other brands. GM, Nissan, and some others I've driven seem to do a better job of that. GM in particular, the lane keep assist is better. Nissan and others do a lot better job of the automated windshield wipers. With my Ford, I often find myself manually adjusting the windshield wipers because either A, they go on for some reason when they're not. You know, you're driving down the road, the rain has stopped, and then all of a sudden they kick on high for some unknown reason. And then the other times, you know, it's too fast or too slow for what's really needed, and I adjust it. Something in the Nissan I had and the GM we have that I never thought about before. And the most annoying thing about it is there's, you know, like on GMs, there's a button right on the windshield wiper that can turn on and off auto. Here I have to go through some setting options to find that in the settings to the menus to turn that on and off, which is quite annoying if you're going down the road and you want to just quickly turn it off to go to manual. It's not that easy. So I wish Ford would do a better job in lane keeping. But you know, they do a better job when it comes to parking. The sensors of detecting what's around you are better than my GMC Yukon I had. So it's a little bit of trade-off there. So keep that in mind. You know, not everything is going to be perfect. Not everything is going to be as smooth as you like. There are trade-offs, but I think Ford really, the lane keeping could be a lot better. And the automatic windshield wipers are almost so bad, they're not worth using. At least in my vehicle, with my experience over the last 4 months. All right, number 4, the keyless entry system and the key fob. Now, I like the Ford overall, but 2 things I wish they would do better is smaller key fobs. This thing is more than twice the size of my GMC's Yukon and my wife's Acadia. It's not bad. It's okay. There's nothing special nothing wrong with this, other than the fact that it's really, really big. And I didn't really think that would be a big problem, but when you're used to having a tiny little key fob in your pocket, this is a noticeable object that sits in your pocket, and it's kind of annoying. 2, there's that little tap button where if you have this in your pocket, you're supposed to be able to walk up to the door handle and kind of tap a little sensor on top of the handle. It'll detect that, hey, you're touching this and you have the key fob in your pocket. You're right next to the key fob. Unlock the doors. Many brands do this. GM, Nissan, and others have more of a physical button, which actually seems to work better. Can't tell you how many times I've come up to the car door and I've put my hand on the handle to unlock it and it doesn't work. I have to kind of tap it a few times for it to work. I know it looks nicer not to have that physical button on the handle, which you have to press to unlock the car to get in, but I do wish Ford would go back to that because the touch sensor on it is just not quite up to par. It isn't a very good experience when it doesn't work half the time. When you're touching it, you got the key fob in your pocket, it's not unlocking. Now they do have the number keypad on there, which is cool that other cars don't. So if you don't have your key fob or you lock it in your car, you can unlock it using that code which they provide you, or you can change to be whatever you want it to be. It's just kind of annoying that that system doesn't work better. So Ford, make that key fob a little bit smaller, please. There's really no reason for it to be that big compared to when I get in a GM vehicle, a Nissan, or others. They're considerably smaller, and it actually is pretty nice. And lastly, what may be the biggest one for a lot of people is the heating and air conditioning automatic system isn't as good as most brands. I really love it. It's pretty powerful once they fixed it. I'll get to that in a minute. But I noticed that it doesn't do as good of a job holding the temperature. If I say, for instance, I want 73 degrees in the car, it definitely seems to have a problem holding it as well as other vehicles. Now, this does have a big moonroof, kind of sunroof, and even when I have it closed, it doesn't do as good of a job of maintaining the temp. I often find myself adjusting it, moving it up, moving it down. With that said, though, this has the best heated and air conditioned seats. It's got the airflow through the seats to keep you cool in the summer, heat in the winter. Probably the best heated seats I've had in any vehicle. And the second row has heated seats in it, not air, but heat in the second row too. So again, you're in a situation where there's a little bit of trade-offs. But I think Ford, even when I said to auto and high, because you can say auto low where the fan won't ever go below low, auto medium, and auto high, giving you a little bit more control over the automatic air conditioning and heating, it's still not quite up to par. I think Ford could do a better job in that. I think it must be an issue where the sensors aren't in the right spot, where as I'm driving down the road, maybe in the back it's the right temp, but up here in the sun it's not. And it's just not quite as great of an experience as I've had in other brands. With that all said though, I do want to say this is a good vehicle. It's not as expensive as some of the other brands I mentioned in this video, which is a fair trade-off. But at the same time, if you're offering these features, I want them to work and I want them to be worth it. Things like automatic windshield wipers sound great, but if they're going off at the wrong time, like I'm driving down the road and all of a sudden it just turns on, I'm like, why is my windshield wipers going? Or it's starting to rain really hard and they don't automatically engage. That's very annoying. Something in my Yukon I completely forgot about because it works so well. Maybe my expectations are too high. But then I drive other brands, Chevys, Nissans, Chevrolets, and more. Chevrolets. Chrysler is what I meant to say. They just seem to do better in the same quality. Now, with that said, I am pretty happy. There is one big complaint at the end here. This is for my vehicle, but it's kind of a warning for anybody who buys any vehicle new. I bought this vehicle in the winter. Well, here in Texas, it's almost spring, back in early February, and the air conditioner didn't work. I didn't realize it quite right away because it was average highs in the 50s. I was running the heat, seemed fine. And sometimes you know how when it's like 50 or 60, it sits in the sun and gets a little warm. I would turn on the air and start pulling air, what felt like cool air, from the outside. Well, what's actually doing is not cooling it, just pulling cold air from the outside into the car. Air conditioner didn't work. Now, Ford was really great about it. Gave me a loaner, repaired everything, didn't charge me a dime for it. But you don't like buying a new car and having it in the shop 2 weeks later. Because what happened here is it got warm here in Texas. You know, in February, you get those days where it hits the 70s. And it's like, man, it's hot in this car and it's not getting colder. Air conditioner didn't work. So even if you buy a new car, make sure to run it through its paces, check the air conditioning, check the heat. If it's summer, don't be afraid to turn on the heat, make sure that's working. Because you don't want to get on the road and then realize it. Thankfully, my local Ford dealership and Ford was very good about that. So 2 thumbs up to them. Great customer service experience. Loaner car, no problems, very happy. So just wanted to mention that though, as a little warning. Now, love to know what you think. What do you think of my complaints? Now, for some people, they may not be all that important. For other people, they may be. Lane keeping is something you may not care if you just mostly city driving. I do a lot of cross-country driving, and lane keeping is very nice in cross-country driving. So I wish it was better. I drive a lot, go through rain a lot. And the fact that the auto windshield wipers doesn't really work well to the point where I've just disabled it is kind of annoying because I felt like I paid for a feature. It's not working right. Same with the touchscreen. May seem minor, especially if you mostly rely on Android Auto or the Alexa system. But I paid for a feature of a touchscreen and it seems to not work correctly. And that's my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think. If you're new here, do me a big favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. It really does help us. And check out for more videos, including the one on 5 reasons why I would buy this vehicle over other brands. Thanks for your support. I'll be back real soon.